And here we are. I'm always so happy
Hello.
when it works, other than you guys are in the wrong place. But anyhow, let me move you over here. Ah, that's better.
There you go.
We actually got people in the right place this week, and I feel all happy. I feel giddy. Anyhow, welcome to A.M.O.K. Welcome to everybody. And what I say? I said A.M.O.K is running strangely running A.M.O.K in Bordertown. I don't know how I put it. Anyhow, hey, I have it up
running
here at the top of the
strangely,
thing.
yeah.
Running strangely A.M.O.K, that's all because of you, Pam. All because
Yay!
of you. So
I
we're
like
gonna
how
let
you
you.
how
We're
you
gonna.
said it earlier, though, Adrian, when you said that instead of a guest host, I'm host guest tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
It
said
works.
instead of being a guest, host guest. Yeah,
And that's the hostess. So you got a
host
couple of
guest. Yeah.
cupcakes, right?
Well,
Right.
we got to do our own thing.
Susie Q's, whatever, I'm not gonna.
Right.
I'm just gonna stop right there because it could get worse.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I don't want to
Oh,
go there.
goodness. What
Oh,
the
hi,
herpy
Jess.
poo?
Hey.
Hey, world! We'd like to introduce you to our guests tonight. This is from Bordertown. Bordertown.
Strange.
I wrote storage instead of strange for some weird reason.
But
Porridge?
that's
I don't know
strange.
why, but this is Pam over here, and
Oh,
Jess
she's
is
down
over
there.
here. Yeah.
Right there. Oh,
Oh,
over
oh,
there.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And
we
then
got it.
Jess is right here.
No,
Stop.
there.
So Pam's over there. This is right here.
There we go. We got
Really
it now.
warped Brady Bunch kind of thing.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now, the last time I was on A.M.O.K, I was Pam.
Yes.
You were.
And you
Yeah.
were a guest
Wow.
host.
And I wasn't here.
right.
Well, I was here.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I
You were a
was
guest host, and now
asleep.
she's a host guest.
I'm never here, even though I'm here.
How
Yeah,
funny.
Very true.
That's pretty much me too.
Thank you, Jess.
It
Appreciate
is what it is. Anyhow,
Thank
we're
you
glad
for
you're
having
here.
us tonight, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're very welcome. I'm glad you could show up tonight.
It's
No,
very
I'm
awesome.
kidding,
Awesome.
kidding. Welcome.
Yay! Well, tonight is Kansas night, and I wanted to bring on Jess with me so we could talk a little bit about Bordertown Strange, which is our newest podcast, and also so we could talk about the upcoming Bordertown Paracon that's happening
Yay!
September 28th. So woohoo!
Yay.
Man, that's so close.
We'll be asking the hard-hitting questions tonight and getting the dirt.
I think I'm going to be able to go to that one.
Oh,
You-
are you?
Are you think?
I think so. Yeah.
I
You
think I'm gonna
better
there. I
be
think
going
I'm
to
gonna
that
go.
one.
Yeah.
You heard her.
I know. Now I'm getting threatened. I
No.
love it.
You gotta do it.
She's doing it.
Gotta do it.
Mm.
That's right.
And actually,
That's fair.
right here in this little box right here that I'm holding
Wow.
up, that's where the lecture. Yeah, don't fall off. Yeah, hold on. I got you guys down here. There.
You do that, you look like a Batman villain from the 50s.
yeah.
Anyway, that's where my lecture's at. So it's coming along well. Oh,
Scotty's
actually,
in the chat and he said Kansas rules.
actually,
Yes.
it's right here. There it is. 1,000 pages.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
1,000 pages.
For what?
Just think of the nap I can get in. That's great.
Oh Lord. I'll be right there with you.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Side note.
You're like,
Totally not paranormal related. We went to when I was in the Air Force. We went to a commander's call. The base commander was at the thing, and everybody there. It's a huge thing, and he comes out with a stack of papers from that were all connected. The papers that you used to print out on dot matrix printers, and he come out there and he said, "I just got a few things to talk about," and he dropped this thing off the stage and come down. Everybody laughed because they thought it was a joke. It was all real. It was terrible.
Oh.
It was the longest commander's call I spent ever in the military. It was terrible.
Holy
Anyhow,
cow.
Oh gosh.
well,
I think that's
yeah.
why I'm bent.
Yeah, you just saw it. That's page 999 right there.
Are you, oh, that doesn't look like 999. If you turn that upside down, that's kind of that's
I
sus,
think he-
Ken. That's
yeah.
sus.
Either one of them are good luck. I don't believe that nonsense.
I think Ken just hexed us on air live.
I think he did too. Yes. It's
Sounded
just
like it,
terrible.
He's got like some chicken bones in there and some other stuff.
Did you
Yeah,
prick your finger? Did you prick your finger earlier?
No, I didn't prick the finger, but I did eat
Oh.
the chicken and left the bones on the plate over here.
Ah, see.
And
I
I'm
knew it.
drinking milk. So, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
So the
sorry,
hard
guys.
stuff.
Hold on. Okay, stop.
I thought bean juice was the hard stuff.
That's- Oh,
Kenzo
anyway.
said, "Stop putting the whammy on us, Ken."
Oh, no whammies. No whammies. Both of those numbers, whatever you saw, they're both good luck numbers.
And Scotty agrees. It's just
Seriously.
a number. Yeah.
Well,
Scotty doesn't count.
it depends on which culture you're in.
Aw.
I didn't hear or I didn't see that one.
Okay, it said that I'm with you, Ken. It's just a number.
Just a number, just like age, right?
Yeah,
Right, Scotty?
right.
That's
I used
right.
to say that, and then my back started hurting.
Well,
Uh-huh.
mental age. I'm like 12, come on.
I
Yeah.
agree. Same.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Body, that's like 1,000 years old, but yeah, mental, no, it's about 12.
All
Back
right.
to you, Pam. I took
Thank-
control there
Nope,
for a
We're
moment.
good.
And I don't even have buttons.
So, we do want to talk a little bit about Bordertown Strange itself. And, Jess, do you want to talk a little bit about that, or would you like me to?
Sure. So what
Sure.
to say? What to say? So Bordertown Strange, the weird love child of Pam and Jess. So
God.
We're gonna make this into a book.
I'm taking
Wow.
notes.
okay, so Pam and I are very research leaning when it comes to all things paranormal and mysterious and missing 411, and we both have a love for like everything within that realm, dimensional slips and all this other stuff. And we both have a love for deep dive podcasts. The deeper the dive, the better. Like 3, 4, 5 episodes on one topic. Just I love it and
A
I
couple
eat it up.
hours.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And we started kind of doing some of our friends' podcast, and then I started getting schlepped around to other podcasts across the country because some of our friends would like whore us out to different podcasts when they needed a guest. And Pam and I were getting to the point where we really kind of just wanted to be able to do it our own way.
Yeah.
And we wanted to be able to do the deep dive, but not so deep that you would lose your audience, because us kind of people are kind of far and few between. So we wanted that little happy medium where you're going to get a deep dive, but you're not going to be asleep after the 5th or 6th episode of this same topic.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I need to shorten my lecture now. Okay.
Probably. So we both do the Fringe with the What If Tomorrow guys with Mark and Phil. So we still do that show, but we decided to break into our own, and probably at the behest of the both of them. They
Oh,
kept
I'm sure.
poking at us. They were like, "You girls have got to get together and put a show on."
They
And we
did
were
say
like,
that a lot. Yeah.
I don't know. And, and we'd thought about it before. In fact, I'm sure you've heard Pam's story about a number of years ago, we considered starting a podcast and we had the most ridiculous names for it.
We had some really
And-
terrible names picked out. I
Yeah.
can't even remember what they are. I have them written down somewhere.
Paranormal Funk was your
yes.
favorite. And she has a recording that she did of what it would sound like the intro for it.
Welcome to Paranormal Funk.
I think
Pam and
I've heard
Jess.
of
sounds
that.
Yeah,
one.
you gotta have a good. You have to have a good baseline to go with that, though.
It sounded
We
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bum chicka wow wow. No.
No.
That's a
Yeah.
totally different kind of video. We're not talking about that.
Okay.
Completely different podcast.
Completely different.
Yeah.
So, last year at just about this time is when we really started formulating how this would work. And I believe was it March? The beginning of March is when we started.
The last week of January.
The last week of January was we
was our
kicked it off.
premiere. Yep.
Yeah. And it's been a blast. So
It has. Yeah.
I think our biggest kicker is we have so many topics we want to do that when it comes time to pick the next one, we don't know what to do because there's too
Yeah.
many.
Yeah.
That's the fun part of it, though. It's your podcast. You can do what you want. So,
Absolutely. Well, right now
That's
we're
very
in
true.
the middle of time anomalies, and we originally thought, it'd probably be a one, maybe two-parter. We're getting ready to do part 3
Part
because
three.
y'all have so many
Right.
stories when it comes to the time anomalies. Because both of you have experienced it, right?
we have,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
both
Same.
Oh
separately
my
and together.
gosh!
Same here.
Our entire team has.
Yeah.
And
Um,
wasn't one of you just recently, or was that something else? Who was
I-
that?
I think I was the one that encountered one the last, and it's been a couple of years since that's
Yeah.
happened. That doesn't mean that it hasn't happened to me since, but I just didn't realize that it had occurred.
We wonder that too, and that's something that we've talked about on our podcast is we didn't realize and probably wouldn't have realized some of the slips that we've had if it wasn't for Jess's OCD, basically, in a good way, of keeping notes. And that's her nickname on our podcast is Notebooks. Because whenever we do any investigation of any kind, she will have a pen and paper and she will write down exactly what time it is when we leave the house, what time it is, when we hit landmarks, what time it is when we begin something, and just going on like that. And that's
Sorry,
how
I
we
just heard the sound again. It was weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's all in your mind.
But that's how we're catching these weird time things. But
Yeah.
See, we do kind of do the same, only without the notebook. We use our recorders as a
Recorder.
dictaphone, kind of.
that's a
because
good way to do it too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because I always say, when we're entering what room we're entering into, or what floor we're going on to, or all that stuff. So it's kind of the same thing because I can't write in the dark.
It is, but it isn't. You won't catch your time anomalies that way because
Yeah.
your time is built into your recorder.
Yeah.
That's a
It
very
won't
good point.
Yeah.
That is a very good
You
point.
won't know that anything went missing. So
Because it's also
Write it down.
in your presence.
Mhm.
So it's within the present time that whatever you're contemplating
Well,
or whatever you're
electronics
perceiving.
will speed up or move back to rectify when you
Correct.
slip back into the correct time. So you will never know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess kind of, but like if like we try to split when we do split up. If at the house we don't split up because we're usually a small amount of people, but if we're in a large location, we'll split up. But before we start to go, we all sync our recorders. So if they go that
Mhm.
way, we go this way. It should still sync up at whatever time. But I mean, you're right.
Yeah,
But,
you won't
yeah,
find your missing time that way.
no.
We've
Nope.
ran into that a few times. And, the only time I've seen it not happen, and we didn't catch it for years, actually, we just caught it last year. And it occurred originally in 2016, was
Wow.
we were at a nursing home and we'd actually, one of our team members, because we are on a team together, and that's kind of where our name comes from. It's called Southeast Kansas Bordertown Paranormal. So we kind of split off the podcast as Bordertown Strange. But there's 4 core members in the group, and then we have some auxiliary members too. But it's Mark, Mike, Jess, and I. And Mike had found this place that we could go into. It was an abandoned nursing home, closed down nursing home. And it had been, I think, November of 2009 maybe was the last time, or it was 2009 anyway. It was the last time that it was in use. And we knew that because when you walked into the building, there was still the big sign that says today's date is, today's meal is, it is, whatever the season was, all that stuff is up there. And so we had taken pictures of that, but they had sent Mark and I in to get baseline readings first, and which is something we always do, and Jess and Mike were out changing batteries out and just taking care of stuff. So we were just going to go in, take some baselines, just hit the rooms really quick and be done with it. And I happened to be in a wheelchair at the time because I was having leg issues. And so Mark and I go in, we take that picture, we move into the dining area, we take a picture in there, and then we start down. it's one of the older nursing homes. So it's got the nurses hub in the center, and then it's got like 3 spokes off of it, you know. And so we'd gone in around the nurse's desk and down one hallway, and he would step in, do a baseline sweep, and, you know, I would write any findings down and we'd move to the next room. So we were moving pretty quickly, and we were almost, I don't know, 3/4 of the way up that first hallway when we hear Jess, and she's like, "Hey, where are you guys at?" And we're like, "We're right here. Why?" And she's like, "We've been trying to call you on the phone. The calls aren't going through. You guys aren't picking up. What the hell? Are you guys okay? We're getting worried." And we were like, "Yeah, we're fine. We've only been in here like, you know, 10 minutes tops." And she's like, "It is dark outside." And we're like, "No, it's not. It's just light." And when he and I turned around, it was dark. And we were like, you're kidding me. You know, how did that happen? Because it had just been full light out. And in the photos that I took, you could see that it was full light out. But what was really cool about it, you know, we have this evidence, and Jess has, you know, her evidence showing that. But in that particular case, she wasn't with us. We weren't like timing everything because we really hadn't started the investigation yet. But when I pulled those photos out of my Google Photos to put them together for a presentation, they were time stamped. And so at the bottom, you can see where we go through, and then that last photo. And I want to say it was, I can't remember the times, but it was like 6:10, say it was 6:10. The next photo after they came to get us was like, what was it?
7:10.
7:28 or something like
It was,
that.
yeah.
It was 58 minutes later, something like that. So there is a huge gap in time right there that we can't account for. And the really cool part was the photo right before this. You see Mark, I'd taken a picture of him in the room doing a sweep, and you can see the light shining in the window right behind him. And you can see in another photo, you can see the bright sunlight out the west wind, you know, at the end of the hall where we're at. And then, you know, the next picture is Jess looking up at a air conditioning duct. And it's like, you know, this a long time afterwards. But there was,
So,
yeah.
so did you move during that time? From that time, I mean, were you just?
No,
I mean,
not
you
really.
weren't in you weren't in one room, or I mean,
You stay in the same spot.
No, we had started, you know, we were doing baselines. So we came through the dining room, and then we went down that first hall, and we'd walk, you know, Mark would walk in a room and do baselines, and I'd write it down, and then he'd walk to the next room. So, you know, we weren't like in the same spot, but we were, you know, we were moving along pretty quickly because we were just doing baselines. You know, we weren't doing anything huge.
Yeah. Basically, what was 15 minutes for Pam and Mark was an hour for me and Mike.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And from the last picture she takes of Mark, and he's in one of the last rooms they were in before we yelled for them, and they came right around the corner back out into the main hub. The time rectified itself right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next picture you see was literally, we had like a 5-minute conversation on what the heck just happened, and then being weirded out by it getting dark. And we were like, we got to get started. And Pam and I went down the hallway, and the air conditioner kicked on probably about 10 minutes after that.
Yeah, it wasn't long after that. Yeah.
So there's this huge.
So what do you think happened during that time?
We have no earthly idea because
No
it wasn't.
theories, no.
Well, we do have a theory. We have a theory that this place is kind of living in its own time bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some other incidents that happened there that kind of lends itself to this. So Mark spent all night long pulling the scent dispensers off the walls because they were still spraying.
Yeah,
the batteries were still working in them, and there was still scent in the bags, even though this place had been sitting empty for 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
It was really weird. The whole place was really weird.
You know, just little things like that we really think that this place is kind of living in its own little weird bubble. And while they were separated from us, they shifted into this other weird little pocket they were existing in, and we were outside, not a part of it.
Wow.
I'm looking to see if I can find. Oh, here they are. Let me see if I can.
That's almost scary, because if you don't come back out of that.
It is. Yeah.
Well, another thing was that Mike and I had tried to call them many, many times on our phones from the truck bed to check in to see what was taking so long, and it wouldn't go through. it wouldn't even go through to voicemail. It just would ring.
Huh.
Enzo was
You
asking.
just said the AC ran on.
Yeah.
So-
They
it
had
power?
cut the power off. They
Yes.
had literally cut the line at the pole. It
That's
hadn't had electricity in a very long time.
So but the air conditioner worked.
Just on the one vent.
Just
It had
on the
vents
one
that went
Yeah.
all the way down the hallway, and we went to the ones on either side, and they weren't blowing. It was just the one. And
So
I
it's
know
not-
it was blowing because it was warm that day, and that was cold air blowing out of
Yes.
there.
And if you look, this is the original picture that we took. And you see where it says February 24th, 2009. So that was the day. But if you look off to the side and it's sideways here, it says 6:01 p.m. And that's November 5th, 2016. And that's when we were there. And then you look at the next picture here. Okay. And so on the first one, see the timestamp? 6:05 p.m. And that's the dining hall. And then we have 6:08 p.m. And that's when we started down that hallway. And you can see it's bright light out, right?
So you're just doing baseline. So you're taking pictures of
Baselines.
rooms and
Yep.
stuff like
Yes.
that. Okay, yeah.
And the third picture, you see Mark, see the sun's coming in behind him there, and it's 6:10 p.m. Okay. And then at the next picture here, 7:18 p.m.
7:18.
Yeah.
So
It's,
it took an hour for you to take another picture, and
Yeah.
you're doing
Right.
baselines. Yeah. Okay, I get
Mhm.
it. Yeah.
yes.
But in your
And-
mind, it was only.
And
a
what
few
else is
minutes.
crazy? See the door right
Yeah.
next there? That's where I took that picture of Mark.
So now, how would we capture this, something like this, and prove it? The only way to prove that is if they were recording, like videotaping you guys, because who's to say you didn't take it an hour later?
Yeah. Right. Well, see, that's why I say with the audio
We definitely
recorder,
didn't.
if something would happen, you would have that hour of just blank.
Yeah.
Right?
They were outside just, changing
Well,
batteries. And
Within a recorder,
No,
you would have
no.
gone back and it would have all lined up in time, because the recorders and electronic anything with time will speed up to match it.
Yeah.
So it'll be fine. That's how you will miss it. That's why I tell people, I was like, you have to write them down. It doesn't work with your electronic
Yeah.
device. It does not work with your phones.
I don't know. I've never
things
experienced
speed up
anything
to
that would.
match.
I've never experienced that, so it's hard for me to wrap my mind
You
around.
probably have, but don't know it.
Yeah.
there was a few other
I'm
times
forgetting
that,
things. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know. I've had a
Yeah,
couple.
or when odd things happen, or you notice something odd, and you're like, well, that's kind of weird. I don't know what that's all about, but you let it go. You don't really dig into
Yeah.
it. And we've done that in one particular
Yes.
case, where we just were like, that's really odd. And then we go to a restaurant and sat down and start going over stuff, and we're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We've actually gained time at this point because things aren't adding up at all, and they're just weird.
Sam's recorder would have 5 minutes of recording, while Jess's recorder would show an hour of recording. Yeah.
That's what I was.
It's true.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Couldn't split up. I would think that if they were synchronized beforehand, if something was off like that,
Yeah.
because you'd be like, you've been gone for an hour, and you're like, my recorder showed that as
I've
I
only
haven't-
been gone for 5 minutes.
That's why we're
That
so
would-
excited
that
about
would
these
be-
photos being time stamped, because you can see we were only gone, 6:01 to 6:10.
Yeah.
Is that when the other one was? So we're 9 minutes, but then they had
So the
been out there
question
for a
is,
whole hour.
what were you guys doing for an hour?
Right?
Not much, because we were just taking pictures, man.
It's like I
That's
said, it
the
was
weird
like a
part.
bubble.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
time was different inside than it was
Mhm.
outside. There was a huge difference.
The
So
whole place.
Well, then
was
you would have
really
the call
strange.
logs where you tried to call her that you could screenshot too,
Yeah.
That's weird.
and have for proof of that.
I don't know. That's
So
strange.
there's
But
other ways to prove it.
the interesting thing is that Pam and Mark never got any of those. So they're
No,
not
we never
timestamped
received
on
the
their
calls.
side.
They weren't on our phones at all.
How weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that place was freaky. It had 1,000 more things with it, but we're not
It
here
did.
to talk about that. So
No, and
We're
if you
gonna
guys
need
wanna
to
hear
go
more
to
about
there.
That seems kind of strange in a border town.
If you guys
Exactly.
are interested
So-
in those stories, be sure to check out our podcast, Bordertown Strange. Just the last 2 episodes, especially I think it's episode 15 is where we hit that particular story.
Yes.
It's really interesting.
It's been some
Yeah.
interesting stories. I've been listening to Not the whole thing, but
Yes,
I've
Scotty.
listened
Absolutely.
quite a bit of it.
Yeah, Ken's in there quite a bit
Yeah.
with us.
I know, because I know I've had some experiences like that a couple places. One was down by you, Adrian.
Uh-oh.
It was one of the. I think it was the visitor center,
Yes.
and because Steve and I, when we were there for your conference, and we were down there by the gallows and the visitor center right there. We went in the building, and we went into the. Let's see, the judge's chambers was upstairs. I think it was upstairs, and then the cells, the big
Yeah.
room with the cells were on the below the floor
Yeah.
below that. We walked in there, and it was so weird because we're looking around and we were talking, and then all of a sudden we couldn't find each other, and we were both seeing different parts of time within that building. We never could figure out where the heck the other person was, and somehow we got pulled out of it. He took a photo, and his photo, the image was just a giant swirl, like a whirlpool, and everything was just swirled, and it was like we were in a time tunnel type thing, and
in the jail, the
just
hell on the
in
border jail.
is that what they call that? Yeah, but just inside the door. I mean, we had just walked in, we're looking around, taking pictures. I remember taking pictures, but we didn't see each other at all. I was like, Steve, and I looked around, he's not there, and he's saying the same thing. Ken, do you see this? We couldn't hear each other, see each other, whatever. We were both in our own little time bubbles, and it looked. There was a lot of the space that we were seeing was olden times, 1800s or whatever it was. It was really bizarre, and somehow, I don't know if he backed up or if I backed up, we bumped into each other and we came out of it.
No, that's weird.
Wild.
No, the only lost time I've ever done is sitting there playing video games, and the whole day went away. It was the strangest thing. But anyhow.
So I mean, that was just one. Ever seen a clock go backwards?
I never have.
Not.
Not unless it was just malfunctioning.
No, I was driving because I was late. I was driving for a very important meeting I had to be at, and I was running behind. I said, Lord, please, I need 15 minutes. It's raining outside. And I actually, while I'm driving, I'm 5 minutes away, but I'm already 10 minutes late or 5 minutes late. I'm like, oh my God, this is not going to work. So please, I need a little bit more time. And out in front of me, in front of the car, I see this clock. I could see right through it. It was like just a clock, like Dr. Strange, it fits. Okay, it's strange. The clock was up there, and I watched the hand move back 15 minutes, so that it was now, when I looked down at my regular clock, it was now quarter till, let's say 9 or 10, whatever it was. So I got there almost 10 minutes ahead of time, but I was actually, I would have been 15 minutes late.
That's wild.
That was weird.
That is crazy.
You're crazy.
So,
Proved it.
In a good way.
on the topic of Bordertown Strange, what all other kinds of stuff do you guys sort of talk about? Sorry.
Well, we talk about a little bit of everything. So, I mean, we've been going less than a year, so we haven't even gotten to hit some of the kind of different genres we want to do. We also want to do, besides hauntings, we've done cursed objects. We want to do true crime. We want to do unsolved mysteries kind of stuff.
So you kind of do the stuff another podcast that I know of, Exploring the Paranormal Perspective, that kind of thing, kind of stuff, huh?
Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, we've got 1,001 things we want to do. And earlier, Enzo posted that we had enough to do a show every week, which
and that's true. Which great.
That means you are?
No.
Well, we do.
No, we can't do the research.
We do a show every week. It's just not on Bordertown Strange.
Yeah, the research is
so.
But see, you
here's
get
the deal.
Take a topic and just run with it, and it's any topic. So that's what's so cool about it, and you can just discuss it. So it's great to put people in. Yeah.
But
now with the
deal is,
go ahead.
So Pam and I, we want to do these deep dives, and we don't just scrounge up the first page on the internet and just regurgitate it to you. we research like crazy, and we try to bring you guys some interesting stories and personal stories from the internet and from other places. And of course, we're both book hounds, so
You
we
guys
always
know
This
how
have.
is
many
good.
books I have behind me? That's maybe a quarter of what Jess has.
So you're
Yeah.
saying this is a
So-
great show. This show is good for ADD people because it's like, okay, I'm
Yes.
next.
Well,
But
What I like about
your show is good for like the paranormal nerds or people really want to
big
just
time nerds. Yeah, we
dig
nerd out
into
big
it. No,
time.
no, that's great. That's great because I
Which
know
is
two of them
hilarious
that-
because we call ourselves, when we get together, we call ourselves the nerd herd.
the nerds.
So, yeah.
No, that's
I do have a
hey,
question.
wear that as a pride banner for you. You know, it's great.
So
We'll go with that.
on the topic that you guys are talking about on the Bordertown Strange, you said you wanted to go into true crime. Any sort of specific type of true crime, like serial killers, missing people, or just all of it?
I like the ones that have just a little bit of a mystery behind it. Like Pam and I are really big on The Man from the Train.
Yes.
The gentleman they think might have had something to do with maybe the Velisca murders, and murders clear down
Ooh,
into our area.
Yeah.
I'm really big on
Troy
H.H.
Taylor wrote a book
Holmes
about
and
that. It's
like
really cool.
Ripper. Is that
Yeah.
something that has something to do with, stuff like that? Like, but I'm hoping that we have years ahead of us at this podcast.
So you
and
like
we
the
can,
cold cases.
Oh, yeah.
oh
We
my
like
goodness,
the old,
yeah.
the old that has the paranormal twist to it, or,
Yeah.
something strange to it.
So
Where
how
something
much
paranormal has come out of, for sure.
how much time do you guys actually? You mentioned research. How much time do you actually before you present that
Mhm.
topic? How much research do you actually do?
Well,
Days,
at least 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
it depends on how well we already know the topic too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how much research we've already done on it. But
Okay.
I would say, like, if you were present us a new topic that we didn't know a whole lot about, um, how we work is we kind of go at it separately.
Yeah.
And it just works out really well. I don't know how it always works out, but almost always Pam will take a separate route
Yeah.
than I
It's
take.
rarely do we hit the same stuff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and we kind of chit chat a little bit before the show's due to get recorded, and I'm like, hey, this is kind of what I found, and she's like, ooh, I found this, and if there's one or two that we've accidentally picked up together, we'll just trade, like you do that one, I'll do this one.
Yeah.
But so, like, if you just hand us a new topic that we don't know a whole lot about, we will start off. I mean, I can't say exactly for Pam because I'm not there with Pam while she's doing it, but I'll usually start the next day after we've decided the topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I usually spend, depending on how my schedule is that week, 2 or 3 hours a day scouring the internet or pulling books off the shelf or getting new books from Amazon or onto my Kindle and reading and marking stuff as I go while I'm also doing this over here. And I'll do that like while I'm, like doing normal house chores, I'll research too. I'll listen to other podcasts or something while I'm doing the laundry or the dishes and,
Yeah.
noting stuff as I go.
Mhm.
And then about 2 days out, I start laying everything down in some type of a format that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay.
And then the last thing I do is pull personal stories because I kind of think that's where some of these podcasts go wrong, that they just kind of regurgitate the information back to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love personal stories because even if you don't know anything about the paranormal or the topic at hand, if you hear it from someone else who says it just like you would have said it, it kind of makes it realer for you. You could be like, oh, I could have totally been in that situation.
Yeah. Or
And if
have
that
been
had
in-
happened, yeah, I would have freaked
Yeah.
the heck out. It makes it more personal for them. I mean, personal for us too. I mean, some of these stories we find scares the bejesus out of us.
Yeah.
We're like, oh
It
my
does.
God. I'm
Yeah,
so
we've
glad that didn't
completely
happen to
creeped
me.
ourselves out before.
Yeah.
And I do a little bit like Jess. I start, after we know what the topic's going to be, kind of outline what route I want to go and start looking for books. And then I'm a librarian, so the first place I go is I hit the library, start ordering books, if I can find them on the topic. And so by the time I have them in, I've gone through my personal books, pulled what I can, and then started looking around online to see what else I could find.
Yeah.
So with the paranormal
Okay.
aspect of some of these stories that you, I'm sorry, King. Give me
No.
just a
Go
minute.
ahead. No, I'm good.
On like, I know whenever I was growing up and going to the library and getting all these paranormal books that I love so much, like Alabama Haunting, Oklahoma Haunting, you can
Yeah.
find some of the stories in those. Now, would y'all pull those as kind of like personal, because they had a lot of personal stuff that's in those? Is that kind of some of the stuff that you find, or?
Some of it is, and some of it,
Mhm.
when we find the story in the book, we may go and dig and see if we can find additional information that's based on it. You know, you can hit newspapers.com a lot of times and dig into things. Ancestry, you know, you can find some really wild things on Ancestry. Find a Grave is a great place to tie some info back, especially on the colder cases. So yeah,
Yeah.
all those are really good places to hit.
Cool. How many notepads? You say you're constant. Hold on. Hear me out
Yeah.
here a second.
Okay.
You said you're listening to podcasts. You know, you're doing your chores and doing whatever. I just want to. I'm envisioning your place has a notebook in almost every room and a pen sitting there. Is
A
that how?
notebook? Did you just say a notebook in every room?
She probably
Oh,
has like 5 or
oh, nay,
6 on
nay.
one table. Just one table.
Well, to take notes as you're walking through, it's like, oh my God, I got to write that down somewhere instead of running back. You just grab the next one in line and just write your notes. Is that kind of?
Well, kind of. So like I kind of do it in two ways. So
I'm not trying to be mean.
I
Sounds like
usually
a
have a
woman.
couple of books downloaded on my Kindle.
Mhm.
And of course in your Kindle you can highlight
Right.
and flag.
Right.
So as I'm going through books, that's what I do with that, and I leave that be until I start that process of gathering everything up. And then I keep a notebook. I always have a notebook with me with a pen.
Tons of these.
And if I'm like listening to a podcast while I'm working,
Mhm.
I will keep it with me. And if I hear something fantastic, I usually won't sit there and just like write down what's being said. I'll mark the time on the podcast and which podcast it is, so I can
Gotcha.
go back later on and tag those parts. And
Gotcha.
I don't usually take what it says verbatim off the podcast because it's not my
Right.
own research. So I'll take the topic idea and I will go research it out myself, because usually, and I hate to say this because some of my favorite podcasts do this on accident, they don't go into any further research. You can tell they've pulled theirs from some other place almost
Yes.
verbatim. And I
Yeah.
find out that there's something wrong or not quite
Mm.
right with the
Yeah.
information they have. So I fix it. So there's a lot of like notes under notes. Like, this is what I found here, but wait a minute, this is what this actually is. This was
Yeah.
wrong here. Because I don't want to bring people wrong information. And we both always tell everybody, we're like, we're not the experts, and our research can be wrong too. So please double check us, and if we are wrong, let us know
Let
so
us
we
know,
can
yeah.
correct it.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know,
That's
something that
good.
How it
that we
should
started
be.
out, and right before we did our first podcast, it was actually Enzo's idea. He had brought it up to Jess, and because you know he knows her prolific amount of notebooks that she's got going on.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what'd be really fun is if you played some kind of game with all those notebooks that you have.
It's a good
And
game.
so the whole idea of the notebook game was born. And so the last 15 minutes of every show, we do play the notebook game. And Jess has pulled like 5 random notebooks. And then, you know, so we ask people in the audience, okay, choose notebook 1 through 5 and pages 75 or under. And so, you know, we'll start getting all these listed out, you know, notebook 1, page 44 or whatever. And so she'll just go through and just pull up and say, you know, okay, so, this is what it's about, you know. And
I read whatever's on the page.
Going, I love the notebook game.
Yeah. The other night you did that, and you said, okay, give me a number. And Pam was the first one. And I think you said like book 4, page 43,
44.
or whatever it was. I thought of that same number, but when I typed it, I think I put down 34 or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, oh my gosh, he's reading my mind.
444 is my number. That's usually why I grab that one.
Okay, I gotcha. So, but that was some interesting stuff.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff that gets pulled out of that, you know, and it's just some of it's random research. And like Stacy said, her son Cord, it's his favorite game too. He likes to listen
Yeah.
just to jump in on the.
I still think it's crazy that everybody wants to climb into my weird brain, because that's what those are. The notebooks are my weird brain. They're just a shuffle of topics I was
external
interested
brain.
in. Like it's not all like Bordertown Strange or On the Fringe related. Some of it's just interesting little tidbits I found along the way when I was reading a book or when I was doing research on something else, and I just
Brandon
threw it on the
popped a yes.
page.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I think I'm
Okay,
weird,
so
but-
that part
Well,
I
that's
did
why
not
we
know.
all get along.
So-
Right?
So the notebooks are your notebooks.
Yeah, those
Yes.
are her actual
I
These are
thought
my notebooks.
research.
when I first started hearing those a few weeks ago or whenever it was, I thought it was just some of the topics you guys have discussed over
No,
the term of your podcast.
it's just
Yeah.
random research.
Millions
over
of
the
words
Okay.
from Jess.
years. Yeah,
Got
Yeah,
it.
so
random
it.
research.
I
Okay.
have
Yeah.
stacks. I have stacks of
Yeah.
notebooks.
Notebook
I don't
120.
think I have as
page
many as
53.
everybody thinks I have.
Adrian is weird.
I'm sitting there thinking like
So,
closet's full.
no, I don't have as many as I think you guys think I have, but I have a couple of good size stacks and
Yeah,
a
she's got a
few
lot.
up on a shelf. And then I have several folders full of like loose material that's just kind of I haven't gone through yet. So what I do is every time we get ready for a show, I will go and just pull a random 5 and shuffle them together. So sometimes we'll get newer stuff that I'd worked on. Sometimes we'll get old stuff that heck was around before the podcasting even started. So it's just a grab bag of weirdness.
There's
No,
nothing wrong
I
with
Grab
do
that.
bag of weirdness. I love that.
A grab bag of weirdness.
I do have to ask this because I like to research too. And I know a lot of stuff that I love to research is like old newspapers like you used to could find in libraries.
Yes.
Where on earth can you find those online? Because I've been trying to look forever for these things. and it's so hard.
Newspapers.com is
Is
your
that a good
friend.
one?
It is a good one. And I don't know how Oklahoma is, but I know if you're in Kansas, you can go to the Kansas State Historical Society and you can go, they have a link to newspapers on there. And as long as you're a Kansas resident with Kansas driver's license, you can go in there and put your info in and have free access to Kansas newspapers. So
Nice.
you
Yeah,
can't do the entire country, but you can do Kansas newspapers.
We had that at our library. We can go there, and then if you have to go all the way back to the old, they still have the microfiche and all that stuff. Library that you can go to. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and there is some of them. You may check your local library. I'm not sure if Bartlesville has the microfilm like indexed or not, but some of it is. I know Girard,
Research
Kansas
makes me want
has
to jump
indexed
off a tall
theirs.
building.
Yeah. Well, Girard, Kansas has indexed theirs. They did like a Boy Scout project or something, and they went through and indexed every name, that they took and stuff. And so you can go up there and just pull their index, and it's really good for genealogy.
Nice.
So yeah, which I'm a genealogy nerd too. So
Yep, I love
just a
all that
nerd.
stuff.
Enzo says, I think it was the Notebook game where I first heard of the reappearing conquistadors. Now that's I found that stuff back before we
Way
ever
before
started the podcast.
Yeah.
It's down in the Oklahoma area, especially around Tulsa. For many, many years, they've had conquistadors popping up in people's apartments and on the streets. And
Did you stay in Tulsa?
I haven't even heard of that.
yeah,
It's crazy.
so I just thought it was a one-off thing until about 2 years ago. I think it was we did the Fringe. We were doing the Fringe podcast with Mark Bannon and Phil Knight, and we were doing I can't remember. Was it I think maybe it was the out of place
artifacts
or something like that.
Yeah.
And I ran onto a story I'd never heard of before about this these set of gold mines that they found that were full of Spanish gold, or had been full of Spanish gold, down in the Oklahoma area. And they did some research on it and had found out that Spanish conquistadors had come up clear into the Oklahoma area and had mined for gold there. And there was remnants of their village left. And it's right near Tulsa. So I was like, Well,
Really?
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if it was near like the bad area. Where,
Oh, and no, it wasn't
Tulsa.
like right
What
in
are you
Tulsa.
saying?
It was near Tulsa.
Yeah.
I
okay.
can't remember how to say that. It's a
Oh, it was
weird
just
town
near
name.
the bad area.
It was
Well,
near-
there's Sky Took, there's oh geez, Broken Arrow.
I
That's
have
easy.
to look at. It's a weird. I think it starts with a W. It's a weird name, but
can't
anywho,
remember.
Weird. Weird does
Yeah,
start
that's
with
what
the
that's
W.
Yeah.
yeah,
It does.
it's the W place.
The W place.
And
The
The
something
weirdest
else.
place I've heard around there is Porta Catoosa. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's so many. There's so
I get
many.
lost
Like,
every time I say, anyhow. That's
ugh.
not as bad as other places. Okay, hey, we got 15 minutes left. We need to talk about what's that thing called? It's in September.
Paracon.
At the very
Yeah,
end of
Paracon,
September. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paragon.
So what's that? That's like that's a place where lots of nerds can come together, including this one.
Is a big nerd gathering for sure.
It is. The Bordertown Paracon is the only free Paracon in the continental US. It's absolutely
That
free
we're
to
aware of,
attend.
yes.
I like it.
Yep.
And you don't have to pay any money. You come see me. That's great.
That's right.
Everyone on this screen will be there that day too.
Yes.
Very true. So I brought the whole list so we can kind of give everybody their kudos.
Ooh,
real quick,
perfect.
right?
Ooh.
So first of all, the Paracon started 6 years ago in a teeny tiny little library with just the four of us, like talking to whoever would come in and
We were
like
so
sit for 5
excited.
minutes. I think we spent like 3 hours
We
just
did. We were
chatting.
sitting at the table like this the whole time. Just come talk to us.
Yeah. And then it grew a little bit bigger, and we started. I think we started with like one panel.
Yeah.
We had like one panel and a couple of guests. And then the next year it was a couple of panels and a couple of handfuls of guests. And then I made a big bad mistake of getting online and asking if there would be any other teams or anything interested in coming in and speaking with us for a day. And oh my Lord, it blew up. And I came to Pam and I was like, Pam, we have a problem.
So
And-
just to put it into perspective for everybody above Jess and I, you guys have been there before, so you know where the green room is.
Yes.
That was the room we had originally rented for the Paracon. That was the
Really?
room. Just
That was
that
it.
room. Yeah.
Wow.
And then
So
Jess put the call out.
Yeah. And
She
then
was
Pam
like,
was like,
Pam?
yeah, I was like, do you want to do this? And she was like, we're doing this. And I was like, we ain't fitting in that room. What are we going to do? And she was like, let's rent the whole building. And this is where it began. It was her.
Yeah.
It was her idea.
It was her idea. Yeah. But it has since grown yearly. It's like doubling every year. In
It
fact,
is.
we probably could have gone 2 days this year if it wasn't all out of our own pockets.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's the issue. It is out of our own pockets.
Yeah.
That's the bad part of it being free for everybody. But we
Um.
want to kind of keep it that way because it's not so much for the public as it is for the researchers and the investigators and the podcasters and the authors and the, everybody to sit
Networking.
together and network.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like a 1 day networking retreat for
Mhm.
everyone who loves all things supernatural and paranormal and Bigfoot and cryptid and UFO. And I mean, we have mediums that come and we have an astrologer, and it's just all the best woo in one building,
Yes, for sure.
right?
Paranormal potpourri.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
was amazing because when I heard about it through a mutual friend that
Yes.
I had worked with.
Yep.
And then I told Adrian and Ken. And Adrian was mad at me and was like, why didn't you tell me? I would have gone. And I
Well,
was like,
yeah, exactly. Because I found out like a week before the thing. I didn't have any time to make any plans, so that's why I got mad and started this show.
But you know what's really cool? The Bordertown Paracon, correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, that's kind of what brought forth A.M.O.K. Is that
That's
correct?
exactly what brought this show about.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Very
that's it. Okay, well,
Because
forget it.
So,
he didn't know
yay!
about it, and I failed to say anything about it. And but yeah, because this is why we are together, so we can tell everybody about the awesome paranormal events that are happening in these 4 states, because these 4
Yes.
states do not get enough. What's the word I'm looking for?
Coverage. Yeah,
Recognition.
coverage.
Yes, exactly.
interest.
Recognition.
And this area is like really huge on UFOs and Bigfoot and
Yes.
Big feet, Bigfoot,
Bigfooters.
Mr. Feet.
on the Sasquatch. So there's not, we need to get that out there more, because this area is really big on it. Now, a lot of people say, no, it's the northern part of this. Negative. I'm sorry. It is here.
On the 37th parallel, and there is something to that. And Caney is smack dab on it. Couldn't be any closer to it. We are right on it. And we have all kinds of weird things happen in the area, which really makes it a lot of fun for everybody to kind of converge on the area and get a taste of it.
Yeah.
I've
Yes.
converged a
We need to
couple
get more
times.
coverage.
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And Enzo over here, thank you, Enzo. He's putting in links to our Facebook page. And he also put up the Bordertown Paranormal store, which I haven't told you guys yet, but we've got the t-shirts and everything ready to go. So there's the link to get to those.
Yeah,
So,
I'm going to get me a hoodie.
Buy t-shirts. Buy, because like they said, this thing comes out of their pocket. And
You guys need to support them.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating. I lost $6,000 doing a convention, my last one. That's probably my last one. And like I said, it comes out of their pocket. They're not out to make money, but they would like to recover their money. So buy. Get a shirt.
Yes.
Yep.
And also we have, just tell them a little bit about what we're offering so far as like the raffles and drawings and things.
Oh, yeah. So we started off these raffles, like I think the first year we did a ghost hunting bag, and it had some basic equipment in it and like a book on how to ghost hunt and a little black tactical bag. And it has grown. So now we offer a full-fledged ghost hunting bag full of lots of fun equipment and research books and things like that. With a tactical bag, we have a UFO hunting bag now with all sorts of fun equipment, and a Bigfoot hunting bag with lots of fun equipment. And the great thing about these bags is they're kind of curated by the people in those fields. So we, of course, curated the ghost hunting bag, and we had the guys over at Red Dirt Cryptids tell us what should be in the Bigfoot hunting bag, cryptid hunting bag, I guess you could say. And then we also had help with some different people that I know kind of putting together the UFO hunting bag. So like in the UFO hunting bag, you have nighttime binoculars and lasers and a GPS, coordinating
these
thing.
things are pretty awesome.
And a logbook and a flashlight and bug spray, because Lord knows you need that while you're out in the middle of nowhere. And we also have a crystal dowsing kit, and we have a tarot kit, which is going to be new this year. Yeah. And then luckily for us, sometimes we get some extras in there. Christy Campbell, who's been on your show, she was kind of guest hosting for a little while for Shaw, right?
Yep.
She always offers a couple of free readings through her Kindred Insights page. And then this year she's going to make a witch bag to raffle off to help us out. Yeah. A lot of the authors will sign their books and put those in for raffle to help out too. And what else do we have this year? I think a couple of our fans.
I want to donate something to you guys to put in. I've got lovely beer cozies that I'm going to give you guys to put in there. So for those of you that want to, not just beer, y'all can do it for water too. I mean,
soda cozy.
It's
a cozy, and I thought I would donate that.
We're doing a family fun night kit too. So it's got like a paranormal game and popcorn and What all
Yeah.
did we put in that one? I can't even remember.
It's got games and puzzles and
that's
popcorn
right,
and candy.
A paranormal game. There, you got to put one of your notebooks in there, and they get it and play nothing
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Woo!
I don't want to give them nightmares.
The home version.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So okay, so this year we're super excited. We're presenting panels again and presentations. We're doing our 3 big panels again. We're doing our ghost presentation, which Adrian is actually our head moderator and guest speaker for that panel.
Yay.
Yeah, so you get to sit and listen to him jibber jabber at you for a while.
I jibber jab a lot.
Jibber jabber. He's gonna head the science of ghosts panel. So they're gonna talk about what do they think ghosts come from? What are they? You know, are they interdimensional? Are they, you know, whatever the heck they are? And he's gonna. I think that we're probably gonna have to bump our panel up to like at least probably 10 per panel, if may not more. I don't know. We have a lot of speakers coming in this year, so it should be an exciting debate. And then Jeff Provine from Oklahoma City is going to come in. This dude has written so many books. So exciting. And he's going to do his presentation on the ghost children of Oklahoma.
Yes.
He's an interesting kid.
Really
He's a folklorist. And he also does comic books, which I think is kind of cool. So
It is. It's very neat.
yeah.
He's been a guest on A.M.O.K.
Yep. Ken's going to give a presentation on boneyards, so that should be really, really
That'll be
exciting. We're going to have a Bigfoot cryptids panel, of course, that the Red Dirt Cryptid guys are going to moderate on. I think we've got like 4 or 5 Red Dirt cryptids guys coming this year.
Like that,
like 3 of them are like brand new to us, so it should be really interesting. Christy Campbell is going to do a presentation, and we got her. I haven't told Pam yet, so this is exciting. I talked to Christy yesterday. I moved the times around a little bit to fix it so it worked for her, but after her 30-minute presentation that she's doing on what it was like growing up blind and being a medium at the same time, she's going to take another half hour and do floor readings.
Sweet.
Oh, cool.
That is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Open floor readings for free. Of course, she will only go for 30 minutes. And then if you want to see her after that, of course, she'll, I say pay the price. It's so cheap. I wish she would up her prices at the Paracon.
Right.
Yeah.
I promised her I'd let her read me.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna let her. I'm gonna go to her too.
Yeah.
I better take her at the end of the day because she might leave real fast.
Yeah, she read me last year. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
And,
she's really good.
and I won the pendulum bag, the kit last year.
Oh,
You did.
awesome.
That's right. You
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then we'll have Jim Gray from Geneseo, Kansas. Did I say that right? Geneseo.
Geneseo.
I always say it wrong. We actually did the Kansas UFO Day that they host there, and Jim will come down and give his presentation on Doc Jansen and the whole history behind the kooky, fun UFO stuff in Kansas.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah. He also includes, and you guys are going to be super excited about this. I've gotten to hear some of it before. He was gifted the original recordings that Doc Jansen did when he went and interviewed people who said that they had firsthand experiences with abductions or encounters.
Oh, wow.
And they're like on the super old reel-to-reels.
This is back in like the
So
40s
cool.
and 50s. So yeah, it was the old reel-to-reel. And one of his
Wow.
friends
That's
has
pretty
been
cool.
Digitizing them.
Yeah.
And they play
That
them for you.
is
So you can hear some-
awesome.
They are
Cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
That's
And
like
then
the old exorcism tapes. It's like, oh my
it
gosh.
is. They're freaky
Right?
sounding. They're all scratchy and fun sounding.
Yes.
It's great. Yeah.
And
And
that's
then
the
we're gonna
jam,
do everybody's favorite, the UFO alien panel, which we always do last because we love to send people out into the dark
Mhm.
after they've listened to
So they can look at the sky.
alien stuff for the last hour and a half. And Enzo Cyril will be our head speaker and guest moderator for that panel, so that should be excellent. And then we give away all of our raffle prizes and stuff like that. and wish everybody on their way. The panels will be excellent this year. We have so many new people coming, and of course, a lot of our old friends coming back in. So, and I'm just going to list them off because sometimes they don't get the credit they deserve, because a lot of these people are really, really decent in their fields. Like, they're big people in their fields. So we've got the guys from Red Dirt Cryptids coming. We've got Jeff Hetfield and Scotty Rademacher. And Scotty is also one of our new members. So he's also Bordertown Paranormal.
Yes. He's in the chat. That's the Scotty we're talking about.
Yeah. Coleman Ashley and Eric Schrader are coming, all from Red Dirt. Of course, Christy's coming, and Lindsay Miles, who is our tarot reader. And our new girl this year is I lost her name. I'll get to it. Brooke Montoya. She's an author.
Yeah,
she's
she'll be
coming
there.
in. Yeah. Philip Knight, of course, from What If Tomorrow and all of that. The Scouts, of course, are coming. Are you bringing Tina with you?
They're great. Well, she's great. He's kind of weird.
He is kind of weird. Enzo, of course. Jason Alexander from Bartlesville Ghost Hunters is coming up. Jim Gray, of course. We've got Lisa Martin and Alex Martin coming back in. They didn't get to make it in last year from the Dark Ozarks, but they will be back this year.
Oh, right on. Good.
Awesome.
Yeah. They're going to set up a booth, be selling some of her books. If you want to know anything about haunted Ozarks or Civil War territory,
she's your girl.
She's your chick. So if you're interested, go by her table. She will talk your ear off about it. You will hear you'll hear in her earful. Let's see here. So Shaw's coming, of course, with Debbie. Yay! We got Robert Prevost coming. He's brand new. He does Monstrous Arkansas, and he's gifting us a book. So that will be for raffle. So yay for that. Let's see here. Who else?
Jason Roberts will be there.
Yeah, Clinton Hancock from OPIS out of Oklahoma.
And it's his sister, Hancock is her last name. That will be the other.
She will be doing the astrology.
Yes. She's a professional.
Yeah. Chris Harrington, he's also out of OPIS. Yeah. Jason Roberts is finally making it this year. He had to back out last year because of some other stuff, but he's coming and he's bringing his entire road trip paranormal team.
Which he's been on for Kansas all the time. Yes. So he's been on A.M.O.K with us. Yeah. And of course, everybody's favorite, Doc McLumpy. Yes. There. From Ghosts out of Tulsa, our retro pirate. Yes.
he pirates for fun on the
Muskogee Castle.
The Castle Muskogee. Yeah. Also new this year, Ashley and Craig Evans from Penn Paranormal are going to be there.
Okay.
We're excited about that.
Yeah. And another new team, we have L&M Paranormal out of Abilene, Kansas coming for the first time. It's a wife and husband team. So it'll be really neat to meet them. And I actually have a couple other on hold right now. They're contemplating coming. So we may have even 2 more than that. So roundabout with all of everybody I just said and all of Bordertown Paranormal who speak, we're going to probably have around 35-ish speakers.
Yeah. I'll have to get with you guys on dad and daughter team out of Missouri.
Oh, nice.
We will take them.
More
the merrier. That's pretty cool. Yep.
That's we have a lot of vendors coming in besides what she's talked about. Last year we had some woodworkers and some engravers and different things, and they'll be back.
Yeah, we
have some new ones in, so there'll be a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got.
That's a pretty big bang for no bucks.
Yeah, it is. And we have little stuff for sale like stickers, and we will have concessions. And this year, Can Coffee and Donuts is going to be there selling the gourmet coffee and Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
so,
and coffee.
They're gonna do
Daylight Donuts. I'm sorry, not Dunkin'. Daylight.
They're gonna do a pop-up shop inside with donuts and fantastic coffee for the morning. And then just this week, I got it set up. Emerald City Restaurant or Cafe out of Kansas is coming in, and they're doing a pop-up restaurant outside.
Yes.
For lunch.
Nice.
Yeah, they're going to be selling po' boys and chips and drinks, and I think they're going to do burgers and dogs.
Yeah.
So
They have a
Nice.
menu that they got to us that we will get out as soon as we can.
yeah,
Awesome.
Sweet.
yeah, and then
And
I'm
this
ready
year
for the
we're
coffee and
doing
donuts.
programs. Yes, is that where you're going next?
yeah,
excited.
so
Alrighty.
So this year we decided, instead of, because when you usually come into our Paracon, you're automatically handed the schedule for the day, and you on the back side of it is usually a map of Caney, which is where this is at, and a list of restaurants that are helping out. Sometimes they'll do deals, or you get little coupons so you can get a price off, or they'll rename something on their menu, something paranormal for the day for fun. But this year we decided to take it a step further and do actual like souvenir type booklets. And it'll have the schedule and stuff inside, of course, but it will also have all the speakers and the panelists' write ups and the presentations and what they're about, and some bios in there. And then there's also going to be lots of ads, because that's how we're paying for this. We're allowing ads to be sold.
Yeah.
For just $10 a piece, you get like a 2x3, like a business card size ad in the back of it.
So if you guys want an ad for your team or whatever, business card size, $10, and we can put one in there.
Yeah.
We could probably put one for A.M.O.K in there.
Cool.
Huh. I think that's a group we belong to. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so it'll have all sorts of fun stuff in there, write-ups on everybody, and links to get
Including
to
the
everybody's
moderators, by the way.
everybody's podcast and their teams and whatever else. If you're going to actually participate this year in the Paracon and you're listening right now and there's something special you want put in, like here's a link to this page that we run, just send it to me and it'll just get added in with all of your stuff. So it should be pretty cool to be able to walk away with a little souvenir booklet.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
Doors open at 9:00 and it runs through 7:30 p.m.
So
Yep.
It gives us time to get up there, get there early, go to Egbert's, have a great breakfast.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yep.
Get full. Be hungry for the people. Oh, you got donuts there.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll have donuts.
I want to have some
good
bacon.
coffee will be there.
Yeah.
Some
You
bacon.
can have your donuts for dessert.
Bacon's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bacon is
So
great.
everybody knows who's listening, if you're not from around the area. So this is held September 28th in Caney, Kansas at the Caney Rec Center. It's right on 75. If you go to our Bordertown Paranormal page, www.bordertownparanormal.com, or to Bordertown Paranormal or SEK Bordertown Paranormal on Facebook, you'll find the links to everything that's going on and the full address and stuff. It's 403 East First, but it's literally right on Highway 75.
It's
you
right
can't miss
it's
it.
just south of
Super
Pizza
easy
Hut.
to find. Super easy to find.
Just south of Pizza Hut. And Enzo was
not
good
like
enough to
Caney's
put
a super
the
huge
Facebook
town.
page in the chat. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's in the chat
So
as well.
you can't miss it because we always have just cars as far as the eye can see. Parking's not great, but it's street parking, so you're never going to be too far away from the venue.
No.
Right.
You just have to walk in a little bit, but it should be a blast this year. We're super excited, and we should probably try to go to another day, like 2 days, but until we start making a little bit more money on it, we'll have to hold off on that.
As I say, buy a shirt,
Understand that.
everybody. All right.
Yeah.
My shirt.
We got to wrap this up. We went 10 minutes over, but that's okay because I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to give you an opportunity. You were so excited. Great to see you with a big smile on your face. Next week, I have not got my my speaker nailed in for sure. If who I get who is supposed to be on, we're all going to be. It's going to be wonderful, and I'll definitely put it out there for everybody.
Ooh,
But
sounds
he
intriguing.
has got to give me the he gave me one of those definitely maybe type thing. So maybe I'm not gonna say it until he said definitely. So anyhow, we're good to go. So join us next week. We're gonna have a good time. join us at the Paracon in Bordertown. That'll be fantastic. It's a good time. I had a great time last year. I'm gonna have a great time this
Yay.
year.
Yep.
Good deal.
Next week.
We're excited.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you
so-
for
everybody.
having us.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.